Oh, I'm just chatting. Amazing. Sorry I ever said anything about you slobs.
Slavs heard you. Okay.
This is a fantastic idea. A
To have a
live
podcast?
talk show.
I think it is. I think it is. I think it's a very good idea. And I think actually that it's very good that we're here to do this because you and I have talked about doing this for a long time.
We really have. We made a go at it, and, you know, complications the first time round, but this has been a very enlightening experience streaming video games, doing something I absolutely love and enjoy, producing content like making podcasts and VODs and videos and stuff. Like, you got to admit, this is a pretty freaking sweet hobby slash career.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess we'll get there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, so you talked about that we made a go of this. So really, I guess the background on this, right? We've sort of been in and out on each other's streams, right? But like you and I basically knew each other since what, first grade.
I mean, I say Magic Edge, and what do you think?
Oh my God. The virtual reality planes. I remember I had that shirt from that place that said, if you smell something burning, it's just your hair.
Yep, yep.
I remember that. I remember that. I
That
miss
was,
that.
you'd get into it, and it was like this crane thing, and this thing would spin 360 degrees, so you'd like feel like you were flying and stuff. It was pretty amazing. But anyway,
Hmm.
so yeah, we go back.
Yeah, so we go way back, played games together, played Magic, did Magic podcast, and then stopped doing it.
Hmm.
It was so much fun, but now it's time to do it again. Not a Magic podcast,
I'm
entirely
like, are you talking
Magic
about Magic or the
podcast.
podcast? No.
Yeah, yeah, because we can get into that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the best part about doing something like this is it's very open ended. We haven't even come up with a title yet for this. This is all off the cuff. So if you like it, tell
All
us.
off the cuff. We did
Ab-
have a conversation about what to talk about.
I don't have cuffs. No. But yeah. So total open forum to discuss things like what games we've been playing and what excites us about the games we're playing and how we enjoy playing these games.
Yeah, nothing feels better than rocking like what four dubs in Fortnite in one afternoon.
Oh
That's
yeah,
great when that can happen. It's tough when it doesn't.
yeah. I think
What
that
games are you? Yeah.
I think well, just talk about Fortnite. I think that the battle royale game type has exploded. I mean, that's only like 3 or 4 years old. I mean, or well, I guess PUBG. There were there were some games that were out for a while, but growing up, we never had battle royale games. You know, it was like it was a whole new thing because you had to fight from the very beginning all the way till the very end, and there's only one winner. That blew my mind the first time I heard that kind of game, but now it's like the norm. So
Hmm. It's crazy, right? So I was playing Apex Legends for the first time a few
mm,
days ago, and you had mentioned you played that before, right?
very briefly, yeah, like 3 or 4 games, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. I mean, it's interesting what you could do with the battle royale, but I sucked at it. I did not make it very far, I'll be honest.
Oh man. Well, what I loved first about Apex was as you're coming down, you land directly on the ground. There's no
Yeah.
parachute. You're like boom, ready to go. Like that's intense. Um, and truth be told, I was so used to playing Fortnite at the time, I could not see the weapons on the ground while playing that game. And I found myself out in the open thinking, "Oh, I can build," and I would just get shot. But thanks to more recent games like Valorant, you learn the, you know, benefits of things like cover and tact and all this other stuff instead of just spam building to get high ground and then shotgun somebody in the head.
Well, how long have you been playing Fortnite?
Since season 3. Um,
When was that?
it was okay, so they had the first season and then they had well, obviously the second season, but those were when you had items like the floss dance, the actual floss, and then there was a bunch of other ones which, as you know, with the battle pass, you can only get that way, right? So there were skins, there were things that were just like completely sought after because they were like the OG or whatever. But I came in the first battle pass I bought. was when they had the first. They called it the John Wick skin, but later came out with an actual John Wick skin. But it looked like John Wick before, you know. So I got the dances like Best Mates, the robot, and stuff like that. But I've been playing Fortnite for, I want to say, almost 4 years. And
4 years.
two of which were on my phone. Because I downloaded the game and I just got good at it. I preferred the aiming on the phone to the controller. I felt like I had more control over it. But I got pretty good on the phone. Like I could build and nothing crazy, but there was this one time where I was playing with my buddy, Israel, who was streaming, and we were in Tilted Towers. That's a callback. And I just took out an entire squad on my phone, and he was losing it. It was hilarious. But that's the amazing
On your phone.
day and age we're living in. Yeah, you can play games like Fortnite on your phone. But
So you got me into Fortnite
mhm,
about this time last year, like so just about 1 year ago.
right.
But I never ever played it on my phone. What's the big difference? Is there a huge difference? It seems like it would be very difficult to play that game on your phone.
Right. So first of all, the screen you're playing on is quite small. So you have to look, and as you know, you can see people from a mile away, right? So that makes it a little tougher. Also, your thumbs have to take up part of the screen as you're aiming and moving and stuff like that. There are people who play on their tablets and iPads that use a technique called the claw, where they literally hold their fingers like this so they can tap like 4 buttons at once while they play. And those people can actually build competitively on a mobile device. It's impressive. Like, yeah. So,
Dude, I can't. I mean, I can get a couple pieces of wood down for sure, but
mhm,
when it comes to a
absolutely.
90, I've
Right.
often like built myself into a shed that I can't get out of.
Mhm. Well, I appreciate that I can edit a door pretty easily to, get through a wall if I have to, because sometimes you box up, you med kit and stuff, and instead of hacking through the wall, I'm like, I can edit something and actually look like I know what I'm doing. But but yeah, it's
Yeah,
also noted here the first game to cross-platform between Xbox and PlayStation.
that's true.
That's absolutely true. 100% true. So you could play a phone, an Xbox, a PlayStation, and a PC all in the same game running real time. That's impressive. So,
That's probably what blew the world open for them. Like it's just like, what, Xbox and PlayStation can fight with each other. We're just gonna take all of them.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's like if you're Epic and you're like, "Well, how can we go bigger?"
Right.
So, yeah. No, they experienced a surge like I've never seen before. Like it was everywhere. It was a global phenomenon. And I can't remember another video game that's really done that to that level. Also, that didn't exist in the time of streaming and content creation and stuff, so everything is so readily available now, which is
Mhm.
great because if you want to see something or experience something, you can totally do it. You want
Well,
to,
and it's a new social network.
yeah.
I went to a concert in the Fortnite Island over the summer last year. That was
Mm,
trippy as hell. Like we was in that party island side of thing where there's no weapons or anything like that. You're just hanging out,
yeah,
listening to music.
right. And like concerts, they had like the Travis Scott event where he was like
I think that
insanely
was it.
tall. They had a marshmallow performance. They went crazy with these in-game events, which is definitely something that I can get into. Um, I remember the first ever event I think they had was there was this rocket ship or a missile that was taking off from the silo in a mountain, and everybody there was no regulations about it, so you were worried if you died you weren't going to get back into the event, right? So I was watching some streams and there was just like everybody in the game was just building up and around watching this rocket fly up in the sky, and then it hit and it exploded and like created a rip in the rift and time and whatever, and it was all everybody could talk about for a while, and they're like, what's next? And it was like there was a period of time where it was so intense and so in depth and they were producing so much content and it was changing on like a week to week basis, But then obviously you couldn't really sustain that. I mean, or could you? Who knows? But that was when like Fortnite was like this evolving thing that you could, be a part of, and it was something to talk about because it was so changing. It was changing so frequently.
But it's
So,
not so much now, you think?
it does. I think it changes in larger chunks, less frequently. Um, yeah. Overall, I'd say no. It doesn't. It doesn't compare to that in terms of.
Got it. Not even with all the brand new IPs they keep adding to it every single day.
No, that's just money. That's not.
Just
That's not.
straight
That's not
up money.
true creativity. That's just money.
Oh,
Yeah.
but let's talk about that.
Why?
Let's talk
Okay.
about jamming IP into things out of not creativity,
It's
but just
just
for money.
money. I mean, we live in.
There's another game that does that right now.
Mm, mm, that
A
which shall
gathering
be
of
named.
magicians.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let's
No,
talk
it
about magic.
it's amazing how much money people can make off of free to play games now. Who'd have thought, right? With the $60 cartridge game, you thought, oh, that's so friggin' expensive. Get out of here. I'll
Right.
never. I had like 10 games, for Super Nintendo or whatever. Maybe 20. I don't know. But there's so many free to play games that you can spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on. And I feel like that's a more proven business model because if your game is really good, it will have a following and people will support it. Then you develop it and see where it goes from there, which is awesome, right? Um, Also, obviously, the fact that the internet exists and you can play with anybody around the world at any time instead of having to call your friend. Hey, what are you doing after school? Do you want to play a game? No, I gotta do homework. Crap. Okay, I gotta beat Street Fighter by myself again. But it's amazing, like crazy. I think we're a part of a special group that has existed before and after the internet, because that was an absolutely
I mean, I remember when it started. I mean,
yeah.
well, I guess not when it started. I remember like getting on Prodigy.
Hmm.
Or I think I remember Prodigy. Did you ever have that?
I don't recall Prodigy. I was a AOL Instant Messenger.
This was like before AOL, the
Oh my
step
gosh.
before it, the like black and white, just write in quote in code kind of
Oh,
stuff, or like in little chat rooms and
there
stuff.
was a bulletin board system game that I used to
Mhm.
play called Legend of the Red Dragon on Totsie. That
Oh my
was
God, Tootsie, what is that? What was that?
that
Oh my
was
God, we're
Legends of the
so
Red.
freaking
You
old.
literally had like 10 attacks. You would go out, you would kill things and get gold and rewards, and then you'd buy bigger weapons and level up. And there was a tavern that you can go into, and it was all in text. And I, one of our buddies who also lifeguarded down at the Cabana Club, introduced me to that, and I got hooked. I got completely hooked. I just wanted to earn more gold, get the next weapon, eventually kill the red dragon, which I did. It just takes a long time. Totally
Yeah,
free, no in-app
but you did it.
purchases.
But see, there you go. But so many games these days are completely free to play. Like it's almost like the model that you have to do.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, if you are looking for a game to play, unless it's like a major, well, God, see that I don't know. I think it depends on the type of game that you're making. If you're making like a role playing game, then no, even digital makes sense there too. I don't know.
But I mean, what game, if I can even say what game today would you pay $60 for?
The next Devil May Cry,
Okay, talk about Devil May
hundred and
Cry.
fifty thousand percent. Yeah.
Is there another one coming up?
No, I don't. The last one was Devil May Cry 5, and that had Dante, Nero, and V, who was the embodiment of Virgil. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Without the
no,
Yamato.
spoiler.
So
Wait, who, what?
without the Yamato, his sword.
Well, yeah, so remind version. I think that was the one I played, the one with Yamato, the one with all the angels, where that evil priest took over the town.
That was Devil May Cry 4. Yes, 4 with Nero, who had the first one where you grab him with the arm and pull him in, and he could rev up his sword like
Yes.
a motorcycle, and
Yeah,
yeah,
dude, that was the coolest game ever.
that was an amazing game because you could also play as Dante later, and that
Hmm.
was the first game where you could switch styles mid combo. So you could literally trickster, dash in, switch to swordmaster, hit, launch, jump up, hit down, switch to trickster, teleport to them, keep comboing off. Like it was so much fun. That game.
Oh
See,
man, it was so much fun.
so if I had to pay $60 for a game tomorrow, it would be whatever the next Devil May Cry is.
All right, fair
And they
enough.
need to make a movie of that shit already. They already need to make a movie of that because I played through the game, the cutscenes, everything, the story, impeccable. I think I just my taste. And there's got to be others out there that think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's incredibly deep story. I got a little lost in it, but the Virgil piece with Yamato, right?
Hmm.
Remind me who Virgil was again? Was he one of the
Virgil is Dante's brother. So
who he flipped, but not who he flips back and forth with?
they fight. Oh yes. In fact, in Devil May Cry 3, you fight Virgil, and he is trying to get Dante's amulet and open the demon portal into the human world to prove that demons are more powerful than humans, and humans should just be eradicated in the wake of natural selection, right? So Dante is like defending humanity because his parents were a demon and an angel. And so anyway, so they fight, right? But they team up in the next one. There's a game called DMC. I guess they also call it Devil May Cry. But in that game, you play as Dante when he's like 20 years old, like super young, cocky
Running
as
through the
hell.
city, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's so much cussing in that game. It felt abnormal, but it was awesome. Like the gameplay, you had the grappling hook in that one, where you could pull people in or pull yourself towards your enemy. That's what I love about the game is the flexibility of those combos that you can do. It's like Street Fighter on crack, and you just do that the whole game through. So, yeah.
Yeah,
How about you? If you were to
I
pay
love it.
$60 for a game right now, what would it be?
Well, you know, I would pay money for. I would probably pay money for the Final Fantasy remake,
Oh.
the Final Fantasy VII remake. I would pay money for like a good RPG, and I haven't played that one yet. And I am a huge Final Fantasy fan. I love those. I love those games. I get so addicted to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I hear that like the story on this new one is something else, and or it's different than it was for the original Final Fantasy VII. Did you ever play Final Fantasy VII?
I did not. We own the remastered version of it, but I have not actually played it yet. So, sorry, not to flex or anything, but I played 10. That was and I played 1. I played 1 almost all the way through, but I played 10 pretty much all you can do through 10. Um,
Oh, right.
and that, I mean, the sphere grid was annihilated. You'd eliminate old spheres to make new ones, and there was Nemesis, I think, was the boss you got at the end of the hunter place, where you'd gather all the essence of characters to make new beasts to fight, and then the last one
Oh,
took
I
you
don't even
literally
think I got
forever.
that far.
Oh my god. Yeah, we I lost a lot of hours to that game.
No, I absolutely love that game. That story still sticks with, and that's I think what it really is. Like, but there's a game with a really good story. Like, I'll just like just give me. I'll just give you my money. Like, I'm just please have it, please
Yeah,
have it.
yeah.
Like Final Fantasy X was amazing. Final Fantasy VII has one of the like biggest story twists of all time. Like it's sort of like everyone knows it now. There's a few of them, right? But there were like so many of them.
Hmm.
Um,
And that's cool.
speaking,
I love that.
hmm? Yeah, yeah, like crazy. Like you still talk about like tragic moments in video games. A number of them happen in
Oh.
Final Fantasy VII. Really, really good story. It's a bit spin, but sort of along these, there was one RPG game that I played a long time. I think it was for GameCube. I think it was for GameCube called Bait and Kaitos. I don't know if you ever heard of this one.
No.
But it was like incredible. It was the play style where you would fight was kind of like with cards. Like you would get cards and they would randomly appear and you had to like pair them up and coordinate them and whatnot to do this.
And what was
But
this one
in
on?
the, I think it was on GameCube
Okay. Huh.
and it was a whole RPG and I think it was a pretty popular one. It was a really good, it was really good. And I was playing through this thing. It took me years to like get back to it and focus on it, keep doing it. The whole story twisted. There's a huge story twisted. This was basically you've been chasing a bad guy the whole time. I'm gonna spoil this one, but it's been like out for years. You're chasing this bad guy the whole time who's been like stealing these things that you've been trying to collect, and it turns out it's you. Like your own character is the bad guy, and the story has sort of wrapped it around that he like fooled you into thinking something else. Like it's the trippiest thing ever.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yes. Hmm.
That, oh man, that is crazy.
Hmm.
There was a moment, it obviously wasn't as grand, but you played through Diablo 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that moment when, what was it, Adria, um, they resurrect something, that huge, thing in the end, like that kind of got me a little bit. It's hard to find games that do that, that you're actually like, oh my
I just
God.
really, that really just get at you, draw you in.
Hmm. Another game that I really enjoy the story to is the Uncharted series.
Oh my God, really good.
Those are really good. Yeah, yeah. The
Which one is your
directing
favorite?
and yeah, the production of that game is amazing.
Which one did you like the best out of those?
Ooh, that's very hard. Um, I feel like either two or one, just because of the one because of the you're introduced to what a game could look like,
Mhm.
and the focus on the facial features in order to try to capture more emotion. Like I appreciate that, and it did it very well. Um, so that really helped number one's case a lot. It was brand new for me. I think two was it didn't take itself too seriously in terms of storyline. Like you're still like, what was the game where it started out where you're hanging off a train as it's hanging off a cliff, and then you start climbing up? I think that was two or three or something like that. Anyway,
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's the one I played.
yeah, but yeah, that game was visually orgasmic, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
So good. Those kids are so good. They were so good.
Mm.
But speaking of games, we were having an interesting conversation earlier before we started this
Hmm.
about some of the games we're playing and play styles
Mm.
and stuff like that.
Yes.
We were talking about new games and then grinding games,
Right.
things like
Right.
that. So I don't know. So tell me about some of the games that you're playing and so where you're coming from.
Um. So it takes a lot for me to want to grind a game. I'll grind Zelda. I'll absolutely grind Zelda. Um, I I used to grind Fortnite, but not like to the super competitive point. But I would grind it to the point where I would get my battle pass done. Like there were
Mhm.
missions that would come out weekly, and I would get them done like that day. That got but yeah, I don't. I grinding is tough for me. I'm more like playing the game for the casual fun aspect of it, and as a result, never really get to be that expert level of stuff. But well, I mean, MTG Arena I probably have the most experience with, but um, different story. So, but yeah. How about you?
Yeah, no, I hear you, and it's interesting. So I do grind a lot, and it's a conversation I've had with myself a number of times because like it was important to me when I was playing Arena
Hmm.
to get to the mythic rank so I could say that I got to the mythic rank. And
Right.
what I've learned along the way is that you can either have like the fun of building creative new decks and playing those, or
Hmm.
you can go up the ladder. You can't do both. Like I tried to build some creative stuff and put it on the ladder, but then by the time you're sort of getting to that point, like it is just the meta.
Yeah. 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 Um, I think once you make Mythic now, you're pretty much locked in. Just because one of the guys I watch on YouTube, he'll get to Mythic, and then I guess you can play whatever kind of deck you want. He usually ends up pretty high level Mythic anyway, but
Mm.
yeah, I think you stay in there. And once you qualify for something now, you stay qualified instead of having to hold some kind of position to qualify by the end of the season. I think that's how
Oh,
to do it.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I think so.
That's a lot. Yeah, because I know. I mean, I know that once I got in there, it's like forget it. Like just we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. But that is probably the only game that I could ever consider myself really trying to take a stab at it competitively. But um, it does take a lot of time and a lot of money
Wait, to get competitive? Oh,
to get all
Magic?
the cards you need for a deck in Arena.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but you
So
have no problem with that.
just grind, just grind. No, trying to think games that I grinded. Well, I mean, when you're a kid, you want to beat the crap out of every game you have if it's like a single player game. Unlock all the stuff, you know. Those games, I guess you could say, were a grind. Like,
Yeah, I suppose.
yeah.
I guess
But
I feel like if when I'm playing a game, especially like when we started playing Valorant, like I see people like kick ass at it, and then part of me is like, no, I want to kick ass at this game too, right? As
yeah.
much as I can. And also, if I'm going to play it, I feel like I want to practice it and get a little better. So, but that's also maybe the I don't know the A type or the fucking control freak in me that just wants to keep practicing these things.
Well, if you play something, you want to be good at it and you want to win, right? And I know I personally, when I play games that I suck at, usually I stop pretty quickly. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's hard to
Well, which
find
I
a
mean,
video
but
game
I
I'm
also, I
bad
mean, here's
at.
the other thing too is, oh yeah, is that so? Is that so, Farland?
Oh, well. Follow me on Twitch and laugh at me when I know.
Well, but so that's the other thing too, right? I feel like if so like Magic, right? I was playing Magic before I started streaming, and I
Mm.
started streaming around Magic, but then Magic shit the bed and became an unbearable game to play for free. And I went in search of another game, but I was grinding on that, and the stream was sort of like I had that question many times, like, am I about going up the ladder or am I about making creative decks? And it sort of became more about going up the ladder. So without Magic, it's sort of like, well, I guess I'm sort of addicted to a ladder now, or I need a ladder, and I also feel like I want to stream something people want to watch, right? I want to stream something worth watching, and people don't. It's like actually, I said to a friend of mine, people don't want to watch a stream where I suck at a game. And he's like, well, I would, but that's for different reasons, like that, because he just trolls people all the time online. So it's like I don't want to do that. So part of me is like, all right, pick something and get good at, almost like a sport, right? Like some of this, like okay, so recently, in the last couple of months, 3 months, I actually started playing Dota, which I actually feel is kind of an evolution right off of StarCraft and Warcraft and Command and Conquer, and it plays kind of similar. And pushes a lot of the same buttons, although it's not the same by a long shot. I don't have the it's grade to be so much, but I'm enjoying learning it.
Yeah. Well, I'll
And that's
stick.
also as I learn this game, I'm finding out learning other games are just so much easier because this was just so fucking difficult.
Well, and therein lies why I like Heroes of the Storm because it's a somewhat watered down version of that game, League of Legends, etc. And that's something that I can get into. But
We should play that again. We
that game
played
is
that for a
fun.
while.
I really did enjoy what was it, Ariel, with her little pushback thing and then her little whip thing. That was
Oh, really?
those are good times. Yeah, yeah, she was pretty good.
Well, hey, we should bust out some Heroes of the Storm again.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so
But so that's been my thing. It's like I'll sink my teeth into this. This will be something that I can get better at, and it will be interesting to watch me learn this, do well at it, suck ass at it, and climb the ranks because other people are doing the same thing.
Well, and that's it. As long as you can keep learning from it, it'll be a benefit for you to keep playing. And
Mhm.
I was doing speed running for Mega Man X, and I got so frustrated one time when I could not beat my time past like level 1 or 2. No. I got all the way to like the beginning of the last level or whatever, or the Sigma levels, and I missed my time, and then I just got so mad I stopped. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. If you learn from it and actually practice, like what I should do is get a program that will, or I could actually save a point and just practice an area over and over again so I actually get good at it. Imagine that. That would be interesting if I actually had a steady grind, because I love watching speedrunning and
Hmm.
doing like a Super Nintendo game style speedrun kind of excites me. Like when I remember the first time I watched a Mega Man X speedrun, it was Caleb Hart, and my jaw just hit the floor. I was like, I spent so much time beating this game when I was a kid, and this guy does it in like 38 minutes. I'm like, it's not fair. And he gets everything. He gets the freaking Hadouken. I'm like, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, because isn't there one more piece? I was watching you one day that you were trying to get up around the edge on one of those aerial levels,
Mhm.
and you weren't able to get up there at the time. Like, did you figure it
Oh
out and get up there?
yes, yeah. That's exactly the part I'm talking about. Because
Oh,
at the first Sigma level, you go and you have a couple of these bigger guys that, if you time the Hadouken correctly, sometimes you can work your way through it. I mean, obviously, the speedrunners will do it in 5 seconds. But then you get to a part where it's these moving platforms. And some of these platforms have enemies on top of them. So not only are you trying to jump up and avoid enemies and shoot them as you go, but the platforms are moving. So if you get to a point where a platform is moving this way, and you try to jump off but realize you need to come back to the platform, and you try to come back and the platform's moved away already, you just fall and die. And when you're going that fast, trying to hit certain jumps that are really, he'll jump from the side of a platform to the rock cliff and then jump up the side and out and over like that fast. And that takes an
that takes
insane amount of
skill.
focus and skill. Yeah. So I bowed to him, and I'm just like a humble man trying to do a speed run, but yet I got so frustrated. So maybe some practice would do me good.
So would you speed run again?
Maybe. I'm thinking if I were to have, I think the Super Nintendo Mini has a stop or save feature to it. If I could do that, then I might want to practice. Maybe do a
Okay.
run, see where I get tripped up, and then just run that part as much as I can until it's like butter.
But so are you specifically about speed running Mega Man X, or do you want to speed run other games like
I
Metroid?
oh, Metroid would be fun. Metroid would be fun. It seems so much more complicated though. But I mean, you practice it enough.
It's super complicated.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I was watching these videos with tool assisted runs, where you actually use the computer to simulate movement and stuff, and there's stopping and continuing and editing and stuff. They finished the game with a game time of something like 3 minutes, and it was involved. You go into the first room with the save point, and then you jump and you glitch into the side of the wall, and then you fall down behind the door, and then you go over a screen, and it's the evacuation scene from the end of the game as you're running up to your ship. You get in your ship and you leave. I'm like, that's not right. Is this speed running? But yeah, it was ridiculous. So,
Yeah,
but
was
yeah.
that on purpose? Because someone's telling me that you could do that with Far Cry as well, where you can just end a couple of those games in like 5 minutes.
Well, I think we have missed to thank for that. That kind of set the bar of, oh, you have this really long game you can do, but instead you could get this page and beat the game in 3 seconds. Do you remember Mist?
Yeah, and I was just about to tell, I don't remember that you could be this. I remember getting so lost and frustrated in this game and wishing I had never discovered it.
So you have the red book and the blue book, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
I might blow your mind right now.
No,
You have
please blow my mind. Please, I want
the
to.
you have the red book and the blue book, and you're going after each brother's book, trying to get the pages to help them out, right? Did you ever get any of them all their pages?
I think so.
Okay, so if you got one of them all five of their pages, it swaps you with the guy in the book, and he turns around, laughs at you, and closes the book. Game over. Same with red, same with blue. But when you go to collect the last page, there's another color page. It's like a yellow one, and you take it. It's like their dad, and you do something, and he lets you out, and you leave, and you win the game. And when you know to do
Oh,
that, you can literally beat Mist in like 5 minutes.
you just go to get the yellow page
Yes,
where, and you can do that from the beginning.
pretty close to the beginning. You have to do like one thing, and then you can go into this tower and do it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
How how frustrating is that, right? That's the feeling I got watching these speedruns.
Oh my goodness.
It's
No
worth a
thanks.
YouTube if if,
Yeah,
if if you get a chance.
I will. Fuck missed. I didn't even know there were two brothers. I knew there were blue pages and red pages, and someone saying, "Bring me the pages." No, bring me the pages.
Yeah.
And then puzzles I just could never figure out.
Hmm.
No, okay, no, I definitely never got that far.
All right, so we're gonna
Fuck
go
missed.
real nostalgic here. Remember the Journeyman project?
I love the Journeyman Project.
Tell us.
Your fourth late arrival has been verified and logged.
So, what was one of your favorite memories from the Journeyman project?
The first time I beat the first level, the
Yeah,
first time we knocked that first robot down, I remember you and I played it together a lot.
that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. It was an interesting game too. It was really just like a hyper. Now it's like just a series of cards,
Hmm.
basically.
Or
But man, it was,
how about Castle of Dr. Brain?
oh my God, that was a, my God, that's, wow, this was very, we've known each other for a very long time.
That was
And we're
like
very
old
old.
puzzle games that you would do, and I remember I enjoyed that one quite thoroughly.
Yeah. Gosh, and yeah, getting to the end of that was not easy either. Yeah, puzzle games are good. Do you remember the seventh guest?
Oh, yes, I never finished that one, but that scared the crap out of me.
Hmm. I went back and refinished that one a couple years ago.
Oh, nice. Was it good?
Hmm. Oh my God. It's like it holds up so well. Holds up
Oh,
so well.
interesting. The seventh guest coming with a hot recommendation. Admiral
Well,
Odog will be streaming the seventh guest coming up in.
I don't know actually. If I got my hands on it, I very well might stream it. It
I would watch. That'd be fun.
the puzzles are so hard. The
Yeah.
puzzles are so hard is what we get. Like it's all the video and stuff like that is so crappy and all that. But like the story is so trippy.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a game that existed before the internet. Imagine if you could look up how to beat the puzzles and stuff nowadays.
Okay, let's see this. When
Okay, it
did
didn't
the
exist before the internet. It existed
yeah.
before the
Oh,
wide use
before
of the internet.
walkthroughs. Got it. The wide use of the internet. Fair enough.
A very wide use
The
of the
bare
internet.
use of the internet. Yeah. Yeah, no, that yeah, yeah. Oh, well, speaking where yeah, remember where we went to go get our clues. You remember the Curse of Monkey Island?
Yes,
I
barely, barely.
remember so I remember getting to the last level and being unable to finish it and it's like saved up my allowance to call the 900 number that came with the game to get hints on how to play it.
I love it. I love it. I did that too one time with Nintendo Power magazine. I just there was a number, right, and I knew it was bad, so like I called it while my parents were in the garage, and I was like trying to figure out how to beat this level in a dungeon in Zelda, and that like NES Zelda, and they told me, and I was like cool, and I hung up, and then I like walked over, and then they walked in there like who was that on the phone? I was like nobody. They're like who'd you talk to? I was just caught red-handed.
It was not Princess Zelda.
Oh no, but I beat the room though. I totally beat the room, so I was good.
That's
Ultimate
all that
outcome
matters.
was, even though I probably lost my screen privileges for like 5 days, but that's okay. I beat the room.
Indeed. Indeed.
Oh, I know what I would want to speed run. For real.
Yeah,
Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time. Yeah,
I
I
would
love
love
that
to see if
game.
there is a speed run for Turtles in Time. Because I legit would beat that game on hard easily all the time. And it was to the point I feel like where I was trying to maximize the amount of, or minimize the amount of time it took for me to progress through the game.
It was such a fun game.
It was. It
Such a
was.
fun game. Quick Tick says hello. This is great. Hi,
Oh,
Tick.
hello.
Yeah, I miss that. Dude, that's the one where you beat Shredder by throwing bad guys into him, right? Across
Correct.
or Krang, right? Yeah.
And that was only in the
Damn,
Super
love that
Nintendo
game.
game, not in the arcade.
Oh, they took it out?
They put it in. Same with the Ninja
Oh,
Turtle
they
game
put
for
it in.
Nintendo, the original one. They added levels for that one because it was in the arcade. It was a big success. And then they made it into a Nintendo game, and they were like, we added levels. Um, and they did the same thing with Turtles in Time. So, I mean, good thing
No
they did.
kidding.
But it also, so here's a little spoiler alert for those who may be curious. The arcade version of both the original arcade Ninja Turtles and Turtles in Time plays very differently from the console versions. The console versions are very much frame based, a little slower. You have a lot more window of opportunity to react and attack and stuff like that. The arcades were built to eat your money. It is unfair how fast these foot soldiers move and react to your attacks. In fact, frame data, right? Like it takes you a certain amount of frames to do a certain move. Try playing the arcade game and see how fast one of those punches is, because that's twice as fast as your normal attack. So they'll come right up next to you, and if they want to, just boop, stop you from doing it. You're dead. So okay, maybe it's not that bad, but it's noticeably different, and it's a lot harder. So,
Got it.
but one of the things, if I may, for a second, about the arcade that impressed me was it was only two buttons, right? You had attack and jump. But in Turtles in Time, especially, the amount of variance you had with what you could do based off timing when you attacked was incredible because you jump, right? If you attack right after you jump, or sorry, if you hit them both at the same time, you do your special move. If you hit it right after you jump, you do a jump kick. If you hit it slightly after you jump, you do a downward kick that's pretty fast. If you hit it right near the peak of your jump, you pull out your weapon and you bring it down and it does a considerable amount of damage. If you hit it slightly after that, you do another fast kick down. And if you hit it slightly after that, you do this little hop kick that takes you all the way across the screen. It's like 8 different moves that you can do with one button just based off the timing of when you do it. And I was just like, that blows my mind. That's so cool. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I was gonna say I'll check it out, but I'm not gonna check it out anytime soon.
Yeah, no,
I need to get my hands like, don't you have the arcade, the actual arcade?
I do. I do. And for anybody who's curious, it is worth getting one of the arcade one-up machines just to experience playing an arcade game again. And they're all the classics. You can get NBA Jam, you can get Ninja Turtles, you can get fighting games, you can get Pac-Man, you can get all these other stuff. But just one of them, just to play an arcade game again, for me at least, was so nostalgic, so enjoyable. So highly recommend it.
Oh, dude, this whole chat has made me super nostalgic. Like I almost want to go bust out Actraiser.
I remember trying to speedrun that. I want to say the world record is somewhere around an hour, and I did it in 2, but it would be really hard to do it in 1.
Wow.
There's clipping where you jump up an entire wall in one level because you get hit into it, and then you just jump, 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 and then
Oh my God.
yeah.
Do your little people even build their cities that fast?
So when you're building your cities, okay, you will always push a new road out into an area if this area has already been developed. Okay, so here's what you do. You literally build in 2 directions almost at the same time. So you'll tell him to go up and to the left. As soon as he goes up and he builds that road that way, you say build to the right. He'll go back to the middle and build another one over here. And those are both developing at the same time. And then you do it again, and so you're actually going at twice the speed. And it's pretty crazy how fast you can actually progress through that game if you know exactly what to do And of course, you have to navigate sometimes shooting the guys while you're building the city. But yeah, it's a tough game. It's fun.
Ah, dude, I miss it. I
Maybe,
miss it.
maybe ActRaiser would be a fun one to speedrun.
That dude, I would totally watch you speedrun ActRaiser.
Oh gosh!
I
All
would
right,
totally watch you do that.
all right.
Well, so it's about 45 minutes in, so
I
it's
know.
probably a good time to talk about like what to expect coming up. So, what's coming up next with you, Mr. Beta Sean, in 2002?
Coming up next, I'll learn to look into the camera more when I'm talking instead of looking down, so I can actually present myself like a professional podcast host. But aside from that, I am definitely still playing MTG Arena, and I am iterating on this white-blue Magecraft deck featuring Orvar. I want to tweak it a little bit and see if I can make it a little bit better. Also playing a lot of Valorant with Admiral over here, and couple other things. Clash of Clans too. Don't know if there are any clashers out there, but whoop whoop.
Whoa,
Um,
whoa.
yeah, just gaming it up, man. Hanging out and oh, Breath of the Wild. I'm playing my son's Switch with Breath of the. I got too many games going on. I gotta chill.
Or not, or
Or
not.
not,
So let's
right?
code up. Let's
Yeah,
code up.
games are fun.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm grinding away at Dota. I'm grinding away at Valorant. And it sounds like we're gonna play some Heroes of the Storm, some CS:GO.
Oh yeah, I
We
forgot how
figured
good
out.
CS:GO was. Counter Strike was another game that I actually lost a lot of hours to. That was my freshman year in college when that was popular.
The same game, isn't it? CS:GO, Counter.
It is
Well,
for
not
the most
quite the
part the
same
same
game.
game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Awesome.
Yes.
All that stuff coming up. So
Yep.
thanks for hanging out with us.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks people for watching and listening. And till how do we
Till
how do
next
we
time.
how do we sign ourselves out of this? I'm so used to
I think we
preparation. I
just
can't
hit.
ad lib.
I think we just hit end stream. I'm gonna do it right now.
Beautiful. Done. End stream.